Hello, welcome to a demonstration on how to generate descriptive statistics using SPSS and Excel. So the demonstration is designed to show you how to generate descriptive statistics from both applications. So we're going to be using one data file, and the data file is currently in Excel, right? So it looks like this. It's a gas station data file where it captures information about the price from one gas station compared to the competitor gas station. So basically these are actually daily prices, what they're actually charging. So without further ado, we begin with SPSS. So in SPSS, as you can see, the file is not there yet. So what we have to do is we have to import it into SPSS from Excel. So we go to File, Import Data, and under Data we select the type of file, which is Excel in this case. So we click on it. All right, and then we have a dialog box here, and it points me to where I've actually stored my file. So again, you have to specify where the file is currently stored. In this case, it's actually stored here, and it's called gas station, right? So this is actually the file that I need. So I can go ahead and open. Takes a few seconds delay, and then there's a dialog box here that's kind of just give me an idea of how the file is actually going to look like. It's pretty similar to what we've actually seen it in Excel. So what we have to do is we go ahead and say okay. It should load up, and it shows up here. Now when it's here, you can just visually inspect the data to make sure that the data looks right, and you can click on the variable view so that you can see that the data definitions look about right. All the fields have been defined correctly, and in this particular case they look about right. Okay, so I can go back to data view, and then I can go to analyze. It's now time for me to generate the descriptive statistics. Analyze the descriptive statistics. When you hover your pointer on descriptive statistics, you see other options that are showing up here. We want descriptive, so click on it, and there we have it. We've got a dialog box. Say, okay, which variables do you need? Now, what you notice is that SPSS is a little more advanced. It only picks information that is actually relevant. It ignored the week and the day, because those two fields cannot be analyzed. You cannot generate any descriptive statistics from them, so it picked the ones that seem to be relevant. That's really what makes SPSS a little bit better, more advanced than Excel, as you're going to see later. So I've selected those two. Then I can go to options. Now when I go into options, by default you find that there are some descriptive statistics that have actually been left out. So you have to select. In this case, I want select all of them. I want some. I want to include variance. I want to include range. I want to include mean, including the standard error for the mean. I need kurtosis and skewness. So in other words, I just want to make sure that the descriptive statistics are going to be relatively comparable to Excel. Okay, so again, Excel is not going to give me these kind of options, as you're going to see later. Then all I have to do is just hit continue, and then I should go ahead and say okay. And before you know it, it has actually generated the descriptive statistics, and they are actually going across. You can see the competing gas stations, they are taking a row each, and here we're actually able to see the sample size, the range, and so forth. So now what we have to do is to go ahead and also generate descriptive statistics in Excel and see what happens. So I go to Excel. Now, as you can see in Excel here, I do have this file, which is pretty similar to what I imported into SPSS. So what I want to do here is to generate descriptive statistics. In order for me to do that, I have to go to Data tab. Right, when I'm in Data tab, you should be able to find Data Analysis. If it does not show up, it means that it has not been activated on your computer. If you have never used it before, then it won't be there. So it's an add-in, and to add it in, it's fairly straightforward. All you have to do is go to File, and under File, you will find Options. click on options, and then under Excel options you find add-ins. Click on that, and then you'll see manage Excel add-ins. Click on go, and then it opens up this dialog box where you can actually select the analysis tool pack, which will generate the data analysis right there. So the reason why you could see it on mine is because I had a check mark on it. So once you put a check mark on yours and say okay, you should be able to see data analysis right there. Once it's available, then you're ready to go. You can click on it, opens up a dialog box that enables you to select the activity that you want to perform. In this case, it's descriptive statistics. I click on it, okay. Right, then it gives you a dialog box. It's prompting you to select the range for which you want to generate the descriptive statistics. In this case, it's these last two columns. You can already see the difference between Excel and SPSS, because SPSS didn't have to select any range. I just pick up the variable and it automatically pick up the range in the background. So once I've done that, I have to acknowledge that the data is grouped by columns, right? Okay, it's going top to top down, and the first row is actually made up of 4 labels. I have to acknowledge that, and then I click on output, where I want my results to be output, right, or to be placed. In this case, I want them to be placed on the same page. Otherwise, I could choose for them to be placed on a separate worksheet or in a separate file. You know, Excel has the capability to do that as well. But in this case, I want the results to be placed beginning in F2 somewhere there, right? I just want to have a much better visual inspection. So once I've done that, I have to make sure that I don't forget to select summary statistics. Otherwise, if I don't, then nothing is going to be generated because I've not told Excel what to generate. So once I've done that, I can go ahead and say okay, and you can see that the results have actually been generated here. Now I have to do a little bit of cleanup in Excel, right? Unlike in SPSS, I didn't have to do any cleanup. It does not even give me any capability to do that at all because it's read-only. The information that I'm seeing there, it's actually read-only. Whereas in Excel, you could actually do some changes. So for presentation purposes, I want to make sure that I will be able to compare the two columns side by side, right? So by moving the column headings to the top of the relevant values that have actually been generated, it makes this description redundant. So I don't need it. So I can delete that. Okay, so then that way I'll be able to compare side by side. I can also do additional cleanup to reduce the number of decimals, right? In Excel, you can actually do a couple of cleanups. So I want them to be 4 decimal places. I think this section here too, I need to do the same, reduce to 4 decimal places, right? So then that way it's a little more readable. So you just want to clean it up before you can actually do any further analysis. Now, as you can see here, you can actually see, for example, if I wanted to hide these columns so that I can only see this. So the columns are still there, but they're actually hidden. But for the purpose of just showing this side by side. Okay, so I had to be a little bit clever here. Oh, right, okay, I want to make sure that I've got to maximize the screen a little bit. And I think I need to go this way a little bit more, back a little bit more. And then now where's my Excel file? Oh, there we go. Right, so now I'm actually able to see, this is what was generated in Excel. You can see that the presentation is actually top down, right? Top down. Compared to this, it's actually going across. And the descriptive statistics are relatively comparable, as you can see, right? Okay, and you are actually able to do both in both in both applications. What you also notice is that there's something less in SPSS. It's not really capturing all the descriptive statistics. So in other words, this list here is not exhaustive. There are many more descriptive statistics that you can actually do, but of course, SPSS do have other functions that you can actually separately generate things like the median, the mode, and so forth, right? But otherwise, Excel, as you can see, has the standard error for the mean, whereas in SPSS, it also has standard error for the skewness. It is a standard error for the kurtosis, which is the pickedness of the data, right? So is the data skewed, and to which side? If it's negative, it's skewed to the left, which means most of the values are lower than the mean. Whereas in kurtosis, it's pickedness. Is the data flat, or does it have a peak? Usually it has a peak when there's an outlier within it, right? So those are some additional things that you're likely to find. But otherwise, what is only similar here is when you look at the mean. The mean is the mean itself and the standard error, which is comparable to what we see there as well. You can see that this is exactly the same as what you see there. But otherwise, relatively speaking, you can see that you're actually able to do both. But a couple more steps in Excel and less steps in SPSS, even though in SPSS we actually have to import the data. That's the only extra step we actually have to do, but it was a lot faster with SPSS because of that. But of course, pros and cons, again, if you look at Excel, you can find that there's additional things that you're actually able to do. You can format the data because it's not read-only, and you can even prove some of the calculations there if you want to be a little more comfortable with the output, right? You're actually able to do that because in Excel, you are on a platform where you can actually generate some formulas, whereas in SPSS, you don't have that. Otherwise, that's all I have for you. I hope you found this video enlightening. And again, if you like the video, like it, share the video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.